think back about 4 or 5 weeks ago where Salford City, a club obviously that I part own, there was an incident of racism, and the manager and the players walked off the pitch and didn't finish the last, I think, 7 or 8 minutes of the game. They just walked off and walked in. Now, I'm not saying that should have happened tonight, but we're going to get to a point where I think that players are going to rally around if these incidents keep occurring in stadiums, and they're going to say, no, football's not important tonight, we're going to go off and walk off. And I'm not advocating that, but it's the right thing to do. But that's what the Salford players did that night. They felt very strongly about it, and we supported them. But you can just see the players there, the disappointment, the shock. He refers to, obviously, the player Semenyo, who goes on to have the most incredible second half after what he's experienced in the first half, which says a lot about him as a personality and the character. And I've spoken about this personally before, where I was witnessing players getting racially abused in stadiums. You know, Ashley Cole famously in the Bernabeu in 2003 for England, and I went after the game and sat next to him, and at that time my response was inadequate. You know, I think back in 2003 I should have been a lot more supportive. I think as a group of players we should have been a lot more supportive. I think now the players are giving support, and they will be obviously rallying around him in that changing room and making sure that he's okay. But I have to say it's despicable. It really is. And enough is enough. I know we've said that for a long time now, but it continues to keep happening.
I noticed on the screens at half-time, just in the 2 corners over there, they had the number that you can text in the crowd if you hear any racist language, and there is a way for that to be reported. Is this, as well as being dealt with properly by the authorities and having faith in them to deal with it properly, is there an element of self-policing as well, Jamie, in this?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, I think there is a lot of good work that gets done, you know, up and down the country in terms of the football side of it, and I can understand where Adam Smith's coming from, thinking, you know, what more can we do, or what else is, or these things aren't working. But it's also difficult when you've just got one idiot in a crowd. How would you police that one person in a crowd who, as you say, you just mentioned, the despicable? It makes it difficult, whether that's through the Premier League, the Football League, the FA, the clubs coming together.
They wanted him to be removed from the ground, and they said, well, we have to go through a process. Then the police become involved, and so that the processes were being gone through at the ground.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if you're talking about that, and then someone getting removed from the ground. I'm not sure what else you can do, whether the fan gets banned for the season or gets banned for life. I totally get that, but in terms of the actual racial abuse, and we're talking about all the good work that we're trying to do, we all know it's completely different than when I first got on the terraces in sort of the mid-80s when I was a 7 or 8 year old kid. But it is very difficult for the clubs or the FA or the Premier League. There's one idiot in a crowd who just, you know, comes out with that nonsense.
But isn't in a way that easier if it's one person?
I think the important thing, Kelly, is it's a criminal offence. This obviously proven to be found guilty. And I think
which is why we need to be
and the consequence
careful
of that,
around
the consequence of that should mean that person, you know, there is serious consequences for that individual. And I'm not just talking about taking the season ticket off them and stopping them watching Liverpool again. That's an absolute given. They won't step foot in the stadium if it was proved to be correct. But also the fact that, you know, their employer, the people who they work with, their family, you know, this is going to have a knock-on effect, and there needs to be consequence if these type of incidents are reported and they're found to be proved correct. And there needs to be serious consequences.